I'm hoping it's just building confidence and slowly building some consistency. And today was really interesting because, I mean, pretty much everything we planned for all week kind of went out the window when we found out a half hour before the game that Max wasn't going to play. And then we still really didn't know what they were going to try to do, and they went big. And I mean, I think it was a tale of two halves. I think in the first half, they kind of beat us up physically inside and rebounds and pounding it in. And then the second half, obviously it helps when you're making some shots, but we made their bigs guard on the perimeter, got them in some switches. And then the clash of styles kind of turned in our direction, where their bigs are out on the perimeter instead of us having to bang with their bigs inside. And that was kind of the tale of two halves and how the game turned out.
When you're down 8 right away to start the second half, it'd be easy to go, well, this game's just not going to work out. But instead you hang with it, and Marcus catches fire, and the game sort of changes in that stretch. Talk about what that was like from your perspective as you're watching him start to hit those shots.
I mean, it's fun to see. I mean, we see it in practice a lot more than obviously everybody else does. And he's had stretches in games this year where he's gone like that. But when you get to see it in a game, it's just, you know what, let's run everything we can to get him the ball and with a good matchup and just let him go. I mean, that's sometimes coaching. The thing that can get you in trouble is overcoaching. When you got a guy that's hot and going to make shots, you give him the ball. I mean, that's something I learned from Coach Luke a long time ago. When somebody's feeling it, just give him the ball and let him go to work. And that's kind of what we did for a stretch there. And then other guys stepped up. Once he got a little tired and cooled off a bit, then some other guys stepped up and made some plays.
How nice is it to also have Dan put up 22 as well, to give you a couple guys in what sort of higher numbers?
Obviously, he had some huge baskets. But the one thing that I really appreciated from Dan, and I told him that in the huddle with about, I don't know, the 4, 5, 6 minute mark, was Carson was really hurting us. And Dan stepped up to that challenge in the second half down the stretch and really guarded Carson. And that was a changing point in the game. And people don't always see those parts of it. They see the numbers in the box score, and obviously there were some huge baskets there, and that part was good, but his defense was huge.
When they went big and stayed big in the second half, was there anything you guys concentrated on getting them outside and getting them out of rhythm?
I mean, we were trying to get in that ghost at the end and, get them dancing a little bit, get Marcus and Dan coming together and Pete in there, just, kind of simplifying it, put those three, get a big in the action and get them moving around so that there's an advantage created. And those guys made the right play most of the time. And some other guys stepped up and hit some shots too. I mean, Hobbs' shots were huge when it got to him, and Pete made some big plays. It was just a good team win.
Loose balls, and it was physical for most of the game. What did you like about the way your team played in that aspect?
I just thought we got more of them in the second half. In the first half, I thought they got the 50-50 balls. In the second half, I thought we did, and that's why the game changed. That's typical in a rivalry. Whoever's first one to the floor, getting the loose balls, just making plays out of nothing. That's kind of usually who wins a rivalry game when the game's pretty even. And I think they had the lead in the first half because of it, and I think down the stretch we were getting them, and that's probably why we won.
How good did this one feel as a coach after what you guys have been through this year, being at home in front of that crowd?
It felt awesome. That was a heck of a crowd today. Having the football team all fired up, the band was great, and just the community coming out and stepping up for a game like that was huge. It was a fun atmosphere and a fun win.
And last thing, asked Marcus too. I mean, you're at the point now you've won 3 in a row, 2 weekends left. What do you need to see over the home stretch?
I mean, we kind of talked about before these 3 games that, we're as close to a home playoff game as we're being out of it. And you have to treat them all like playoff games at this point. And we've been a little better on the road this year, but we still have some demons there that we need to go. And Saginaw and Wayne are kind of in the same boat, in that same clump of teams, and they're going to be absolute battles. They've both been playing pretty well recently, and we'll see what we're made of. We got to see if we can have this grittiness and toughness on the road.